Welcome back to Money on a Mission. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Colin Evans and Dave Evans of Evans Financial Group, and we're talking all about what it feels like to you as a client when you work with Evans Financial Group. You'll see there's a difference. Well, Dave, I know that you and Colin asked a lot of questions during that first meeting. Let's talk a little bit about that. What types of questions do you ask, and what is the point of asking so many questions?
When we start with, there's an understanding. It's like we have to kind of get some, ground feelers on the ground and kind of boots on the ground as we start doing this. As David mentioned earlier, it's like we have 2 ears that we want to listen with, but we are going to ask quite a few questions. I want to, what worries you? Does anything keep you up at night?
Yes.
We see a lot of, I want to have people turn the news off and say, stop listening to the noise that we see. That can kind of cloud our heads and put a little bit more fear than I think we really need in our lives, and kind of scare the dickens out of us. And, as we start kind of really honing in, it's like, are there goals you want to accomplish? Are there things you want to do? Let's help bring these to the forefront. Let's help make these a reality, and let's help guide you in the way that we can do this. If it's, I want to serve more to my church, I want to, travel more, I want to spend more time with grandkids, I want to take trips, I want to garden more. It's, everybody's plan is going to be different. No two are ever the same. And that's what makes it unique. It's not boilerplate. It's like we don't plug in, Bob and Mary Smith, and here you go. Here we just crunched it from a spreadsheet, and it just looks good with a few charts and graphs. No, we want to take the time and say, let's have this conversation. Let's talk about these dreams. What is a foresight? Because when we see that really puts them in the driver's seat, and that allows us to kind of be co-pilots with them and say, here's the way that we're going to get here, and here's the paths that we're going to navigate as we kind of meddle and get our way through these retirements. Is it going to affect us with any tax increases? What happens when we see like inflation that we had over the last few years, when the gasoline at the pump goes up to $4? All these things are playing a factor on those retirement dollars and have an effect when you're living on a fixed income. What can we do to ease some of those fears, ease some of those worries, and put those to rest and allow you to go enjoy it? This is your time. This is your time to live. I want to make sure you enjoy your life. You don't need to worry about the financial stuff. Let us take care of that for you. We'll be the warriors on that end.
I love it, Colin. Thank you. Well, Dave, I should also ask you a question. A lot of people are nervous to set that first appointment because they're afraid that they're going to be asked so many questions. How do you help alleviate someone's fear who's in the audience today that's on the fence about calling in? Maybe they're nervous or they're afraid that they made some mistakes in the past.
Are there any questions? Are they just as nervous when they go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, where does it hurt? And you just say, well, just give me a prescription for something. He's got to know the details. And so we just kind of casually talk about that because we are asking private information. But I will share with them that no one is going to know anything that we talked about unless you told them. And no one's going to leave, and other than my staff, if they're helping me work on this, no one's going to know anything that went on in this room, even if you've been referred by, client A. That person's not going to know. They might know you became a client, but they're not going to know anything about what we talked about. And of course, one of the fears they have is not having enough, having more life than they have money. But we'll go through a process where we're going to help them in the budgeting process. Number one, when are you going to retire? And two, let's talk about the budgeting. And some people are good budgeters, spreadsheet. They got, these are our bills every month, and they know them. They're very analytical, and that helps. But if they haven't done that process, we'll walk them through it. I said, here's a sheet of paper. I want you to go home and track, what your expenses are. And then we're going to see what pieces of income we have coming in. So because we want to make sure the income is enough to cover the outflow. And we'll go through if they haven't retired yet, we'll say, we need to go get a Social Security report and find out how much you have coming in. So we can begin to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. And when we explain it that way, that's a little bit more, it's settling to them because they're at peace. I know you're going to give me financial information. I have to have that to help you. And if you don't want to give me financial information, then it's been a pretty short visit. But that doesn't happen because typically they've come to us by referral. They've been to a workshop. They've seen us on TV now, and they'll come in, and that's pretty. They know who we are.
Of course.
And we've had a good standing and a reputation in the community, and certainly that helps by reputation. So they'll come in, and then we'll just ease their fears and then tell them the process that we're going to go through and then what the outcome is going to look like.
I love that, Dave. Thank you. Colin, with the POS, the pile of stuff, what documents do you actually recommend they bring? The POS, I love it.
It's funny, and everybody's different. This is where you kind of can learn, how people are, if they're structured. We can tell the difference from immediately, like when an engineer comes in. I've been handed a flash drive, and I go, uh-oh, I know it's on this, but it's very, very detailed. Other people come in with a box. And that could be their own filing system. We want to look at, let's pull all these accounts together. I want to see tax returns. Let's run some Social Security numbers. Let's see all this data and start compiling and really putting the bits and pieces of the puzzle in place. What bank statements are out there? As we're looking at, IRA accounts. You maybe have an old 401k that's hanging at an employer. Let's put all these pieces together and make this cohesive so this can actually work as fluid as we can, because at that point, this is where our plan goes into play. We can actually start honing in on, hey, here's tax mitigation strategies. Or do we want to leave legacy? Let's look at what are we keeping aside for healthcare expenses. When we start piling and putting this stuff together, we can put this into an organized fashion and just really put those fears to rest and put them to bed and give that peace of mind that's needed.